As I grew up here in Blue Island, I got to know people, and I got to be an adventuresome little fella. Going to school was a tedious job in itself. We had no buses in that time. You had to walk. We had no backpacks or tote bags to carry your books in. You carried them all in your hand. Well, they decided that while we were going to school at Calumet, I was living on the other side of Calumet River. They decided to rebuild the bridge on the canal. So we had to walk down the road where it's now Fay Point, and there used to be a lock over there to shut the water on the canal. And we'd cross it there, go to school. On the way to school, there was a little farm stand there that would sell candy and gum and that. We'd pick up a couple of pieces of gum or candy and go to school. We'd do the same thing on the way back. Mischievous on that trip? Yes. When they were building the bridge, they put the girders down over the canal. It was too far to walk all the way around, so we crossed the girders. We'd have fell, would have been drowned, or busted our heads on the way down. That wasn't bad enough. When they put the girders over the top, we decided to go over the top. Well, we got caught. Some teacher was looking out the window and saw the figures up there, and we got nailed. We got punished. We had to write an essay of why we would not do that. So I graduated from school. But in the meantime, they opened Midway racetrack, where they raced the little miniature cars. We got lucky. We got a job there. Me and another boy named Rudy Sosa. We were parking cars. We would get a quarter for each car to park. Now that quarter was for us, and we would charge 50 cents for the park. So, and then they built a restaurant across from Ashland Avenue, across Vermont, and it was a Polish restaurant. Oh, they make the most wonderful hamburgers. And we would order a hamburger, sit there and eat it while we were waiting. It was nothing to see one of those little cars hit the wall and hang on a 2x4 and just swing there till they come and got them down. They never made the curve. We got that job. It lasted all summer. We enjoyed ourselves. We went back working on the farms, going to school. My mother would send me shopping, and I would go walk to the store. It would take me a half hour to walk from Centennial Park to Division. I would talk to every person on the way going that was outside, asking them how they plant their flowers, what they were, why they were cutting the grass this way, why they had the hedges trimmed so low. They would explain everything patiently. On the way back, I'd take the other side of the street and do the same thing. Take me an hour just to make that round trip to Centennial Park to Division. Then another 20 minutes to get home. It seemed that people were interested in meeting one another, talking to one another, knowing one another. Something that's died in this generation. Kids from school that lived along the road would always stop me, ask me to come in and have a drink of water or a pop, and continue my journey. Since we were of the poor class, sometimes we didn't have bread. So my mother would make our tortillas, make us tacos, make our lunch. Well, we take our lunch, go underneath the viaduct, hide it there, go to school. At lunchtime, when everybody went home for lunch, we'd go down to the canal, start a little fire and heat our tacos down there and eat them and go back to school. One day somebody told the teacher what we were doing, and the teacher called us in. We told her we didn't have no place to heat our tacos there, and we couldn't eat them cold. They didn't taste that good. Tasted better warm. And she says, "Don't be ashamed to bring your food to school, if that's what it is," she says. You should be glad that you have food to eat, no matter what it is. Whether it's Polish people bringing Polish food, Italian people bringing Italian food, or you bringing your food. Just don't be ashamed. So no, we're not ashamed. It's just that we want it warm. That's all. She says, well, don't do it anymore. So we would take our tacos to school. But we used to enjoy making our little fires and eating like the hobos. That's where we learned it from in the first place. People I hung out with were of all nationalities. I very seldom hung out with the Rock Island Mexican group. There was the Rock Island Mexican group, there was the B&O Mexican group, and there was the Indiana Harbor group. I hung around with most of the white people that lived on Vermont Street. Particularly one boy, his name was Billy Kirshner. And he was the most wonderful guy that I met in school. Better friend you couldn't have. Sometimes when I had to go to the grocery store at 120th and Ashland, he'd go home and tell his mother, and his mother would drive out there and pick me up and take me back home. Oh, how many mothers would do that now? They would invite me over for Saturday to come and have lunch with him. The other one was a young lady named Beverly Post. Father was a bus driver for the South Suburban bus. She'd stop, and when I was walking by their house, she'd stop me and tell me to come in, and I said, your mother might get mad. She said, no, my mother will not get mad. Come on in. Her mother was wonderful, too. I'd sit down, have a glass of milk or something, and then I'd continue on my journey. Most of the people I hang out with were white people. Later on, I got tied up with my wife's cousin. This was before we were married. And his name was Louis. Better friend you couldn't have. We hung out. We went to the show together. Distance was no different. We took our bicycles. We went to Roseland. They had 2-3 theaters, and we'd find out which one we wanted to go see. We'd go to Blue Island. We'd go to Homewood. When we had to work, we'd work together at the farms. I think if he hadn't died right after the war, him and I would have been sitting pretty financially. Because I'd come up with an idea, and he was the guy that, let's go, let's do it. You get the idea, let's work on it. And he had a lot of faith in me. And when he passed away just before I got married, because he was going to be my best man, I was really heartbroken. Friends like him are once in a lifetime. Him and Billy Kushner. May they rest in peace.